Welcome everybody to my Thursday chess stream here on lichess and Twitch. International Master William Pascal, along with the Macro Panda. Happy to see you guys. Today is Subscribers Thursday, so we're doing game analysis, submitted games by subscribers of the Twitch stream. Asterbait, what's up? Moobot is in the house. Alright, we are Sparkle Horse on lichess. We are Sladgie on Twitch. Biggest donations this week: Blobby, Dragon, BC, Jim. The top three: Alms on Twitch, Asterbait, Bob, Sakamano, and Percy Hepworth. Thank you guys. Yesterday, no stream. I was away with the Weed Keeper. And we're back just in time. Just 24 hours missing in action. And back for a subscriber stream. So we missed Weird Wednesday. We've got subscriber stream tonight. Tomorrow we have another stream. Tomorrow will be Blitz and Rapid Chess, European facing time, 12:30 Eastern time. And of course our weekly simul on Sunday, which is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time every Sunday that I can manage it. Asterbait, what's up, man? Blobby's here. Evening, Blobby. Late there. It's 11 and a half p.m. 11:30 p.m. guys. So we got submissions for the stream today. Eubatis, Blobix, Ferrum Lutzis, Asterbait, Savadog, Jim, Uber, and Move 11. If you're not on the list, and you submitted it, then please correct me. So, kind of a late night last night. Got a good, rest, but still not fully recovered. But we're happy to be back here in one piece. Asterbait, what's up? So we're starting with Eubatis, Blobix, Ferrum Lutzis, and Asterbait is only fourth. Very strange, Asterbait. Late this week. What's up, Stuk? I wanted to mention for Stuk that Master Joe, my house sitter slash trainer and librarian, HTFP, you feels bad? Why? So Stu, the librarian, found the solution, and he worked it out on his own to your problem from 2 weeks ago. He had been working on it for a couple of days, and I guess he has his, he has his ways of. He was pondering the position for like 2 days. No, don't send it in again. but Joe found the solution on his own without any help from engines or anything like that. It took him a little while, but he did do it. It's a nice problem. Okay, did I forget someone? Oh, the Bruins feels bad. Yeah, we were at Foxwoods watching live last night, and the second goal was just a backbreaker. They never should have let that happen. If it had been 1-0 going into the second period, it would have been a different game. But anyway, c'est la vie, guys. We're here to talk about chess. Eubatis, Blobix. Actually, it was very stupid of me not to bet on the NHL final, because I don't think the Bruins were really a favorite, and the odds were stacked for the Bruins. If you could sports bet, it would have been a massively good bet to bet on St. Louis from a statistical standpoint of things. Fortunately, there was no sports book at Foxwoods, so to win big. No, I was equal, and Master Joe actually went negative, so we were playing mostly blackjack. And it's funny because Joe is like much more conservative than me, and I was like had big variance in my winning and losing, ended up equal, and Joe was actually negative after playing very solidly. It just goes to show that I don't know what it goes to show, but anyways, Eubatis and Blobix starting it off. Let's go there. All right. I think we're gonna have to go back to the next list here. Eubatis, Eubatis game for subscriber stream. This is the first one submitted just 2 days ago. Seems like a long time now. So, Mr. Coffee, the next time you have to come and hang out with us. Foxwoods is opening a new poker room, but it ironically isn't opening till like a few days from now or something. So I didn't feel like playing poker because Joe doesn't really play poker, and I didn't want to like just leave him alone, go play poker by myself. So we just played blackjack. Back to work then. Back to work. I didn't really lose anything. I actually won back some of my expenses from the trip. So, but Joe negative, unfortunately, with a very solid blackjack style. Do it on a Saturday. All right, well think about it, man. Definitely. All right, good to see Mr. Coffee Astrobate still here. Zuckertord opening Slav invitation. Let's check this out. Yabatis versus, ironically, okay, Sivash. Which I was wondering about this game. Sivash. It's interesting. Like Sivash. It's like a sponge in Hungarian. Anyway, Sivash means like, it sounds like the word sponge in Hungarian, but it's probably not Hungarian. Probably something Slavic. Does anybody know the meaning of Sivash in Slavic language? All right, let's get started. Yabatis is white, knight f3, c6, Slav invitation, so g3. Just a standard King's Indian, anti-King's Indian system with, not same-ish, Sivash. Siavash. So the move that is recommended is bishop g4 here, basically a reverse Tory attack, which I played myself many times. But black just plays knight f6, that's fine too. Now Yabatis with castles. I remember a long time ago, I think it was Maurice Ashley had a game I saw where he did a setup with bishop g4, but somehow he played like an early queen c7, knight bd7, and tried to attack white like a caveman with the maybe h5, h4. I don't know if that's really a viable plan or not, but it would be an interesting alternative. Instead here, Sivash just plays in London system. The good old London system, which we love. We don't get enough of that, really, in the Blitz and Simul's here, so I'm so happy to see this. d3. Another good move for white is c4, my favorite. c4, e6. When I have no idea how white's supposed to get an advantage in this position, I've given up. White has a really good score here, but I can't really even understand how that's possible. Because in reality, it doesn't seem like he has any advantage at all. Although perhaps the bishop system with the bishop on g4 is even better than the bishop on f5. Mr. Coffee, though, we would, love to do that sometime, to meet up, have the Sladgie meet up, maybe Uber driver. Uber driver ever reveals his real identity. Okay, d3, bishop f5, d3, knight bd7. Standard kind of London system. Now knight on bd2. I had a game like this against Esserman where I guess I probably played something along the lines of b3, bishop b2. I like to kind of mix it up with white. That b3 has a bad score for some reason. I don't think this is statistically relevant. There's nothing wrong with this. b3, knight bd2. This is more traditional. Now, apparently he has e4. I have this weirdest feeling like I already went over this game on the stream, but that's impossible. Right, guys? I'm having like deja vu of actually discussing this game, but I guess it was a different game, and that's what's freaking me out. Okay, it's a different game. Similar game, but different. e4, yeah. Kind of classic trap, I guess. Yabatis had a very similar game where his opponent took on e4 and got wrecked. So here black should take on e4 and then fix the center and not get greedy and try to take the pawn, but just move the bishop. Probably bishop g4 or bishop g6 are best. The text move has a problem that white has knight to g5 in some situations. situation. But more importantly, black has a problem along the e-file here. For those of you who'd like to really learn something about chess, I think that this subscriber streams are useful because we can really go into some analysis and talk about some ideas, which we don't have time for to go into so much detail in the Blitz. This is a position I've played a lot, mostly with white, and a type of position, I should say. And that's why black usually does this exchange on e4, because he doesn't want this file to open up unpleasantly. So it looks like Yabatas here messed up. I mean, he misses this with very strong potential of attack along the open file. In other words, CD, I guess, rook e1, and then some sort of pawn break. I mean, even knight g5 is a possibility. The computer comes up with some sacrifice in one line, it looked like. Did it say knight takes e5? That loses a piece. Okay, I'm going to turn off the engine now and think for myself, but I think these breaks there's a lot of interesting possibilities here. Anyways. Okay, what he did was played by Tarvo Seaman twice, actually. Poor guy lost both games. But he was playing very weak players, Shirov and Alexandrov. Estonian IM against brutal grandmasters. Kind of tough competition there. Bishop e7. Yeah, I mean, this is perfect. So, as you can see, both grandmasters in question played h6, stopping knight to g5. But it's possible, going back, that we should try something more lively with pawn takes pawn. Okay. So here, going back to the game, h3, h6 should be played. He doesn't. And the ever important white squared bishop is gone. Simply takes it, and now the position has changed. Okay? But let's take this into... I don't want to spend all day on one game, but I usually start slow. Let's take this into consideration. What are the really important factors here? One thing I'd like to stop and talk about for a minute is Yabatas jumping the gun with this exchange on e6? The bishop isn't going anywhere, so there's an argument here to be made that, okay, we might have another move, that's strong as well. But honestly, I just don't see a lot of possibilities. f4, very, very weakening. Could be played, though. Radically weakening about the white king side and the dark squares, particularly this diagonal. You see that, guys. Risky stuff. So let's see. Takes. What do we do? Queen e2. Very solid. So what's this game going to be about? Long term? It's a long-term battle of two bishops trying to open the position slowly in their favor versus the black player, Fischer-Kira's style, Caro-Kann, two knights variation. 2 times Kira's beat him in this sort of closed structure, which I've alluded to before. The plan for black is put everything on the dark squares, and the white square bishop on g2, it doesn't exist. So this becomes, the bishop on g2 becomes like non-existent piece, essentially. But it's not that easy in practice. I mean, it could go out to h4 and pressurize e6, so black has to be careful. Okay, queen b6, let's see what happened. Grabbing dark squares, good move. I don't like this move at all from Yabatas. Very bad, very bad. Bad. The knight, I admit that he doesn't have a good square, but this knight has very little future here. And it's practically begging black to play a5, a4. So he does what he has to do, plays a4. He sucks it up. Can't allow a4, obviously. Yeah, now maybe this is the point where we see black going too far. Move 11 made a very similar mistake in some recent game that we analyzed here. Overextending the structure. White squares look a little bit debilitated. My feeling is that something bad is going to happen because white has a white square bishop now. You're making the white square bishop great again, essentially, by playing c5. You're also taking away squares from your pieces. Look, bishop, queen, knight coming to c5. All of that is gone now that black will play c5. This is an awful decision from a strategic standpoint. Now, I don't know what white should do. The temptation would be to try to open it up for the bishops, obviously. I think that's a reasonable plan. I don't like the knight on b3. But still. I'm doubling the pawns, but weakening the white squares. Instead, he plays this provocative move. It's like hope chess. Maybe my opponent will lock the structure and let me put a knight on c4. Cheers, everyone. Back to c1. Nimzovich is ready to maneuver with 92. Yabatis is a good positional player. You got to be careful with him. He makes blunders sometimes, but he really has high-level understanding of positional play. IvyYM just subscribed with Twitch Prime. IvyYM, thank you so much for subscribing. And all you guys, thank you for being subscribers. This is my way of giving back by analyzing the subscribers' games. Rook f8. There's nothing going on here. Newsflash, there's nothing going on the f-file. So knight c4, queen a6, bishop d2, Nimzovich. No. Okay, obviously black can play b6. They can play bishop d8. We need to defend this pawn on... defend the pawn on a5, but he didn't know about that. Goodbye. Goodbye. And that's it. Basically we're a pawn up, no compensation. Black just played pretty badly. Little trick here. Exchange, hitting the rook. Bob, what's up? We're analyzing Yabatis' game. Nice positional game here. Two bishops, pawn up. Loving it. Loving it. Now h4. Unfortunately, f4 is hard to achieve. White's going to have to kind of milk this. This could be a long game. I pointed that out earlier. The mystery bishop can get out, and it can become a very important piece. It's what Lasker said. Pieces that are blocked in, when they get out, finally, they're extremely dangerous. I'm paraphrasing a Lasker quote. Pieces that are blocked in, they're angry when they come out, and they're extra powerful, essentially. This bishop is like that. He's pissed off that he's been so discriminated against all his life. Hoping to trap the black queen in some way. Now, I don't know, this pawn, can you take that? I guess we're going to find out. It looks very easy to trap that queen. But is it really? I don't see the queen trap. So there's no queen trap. The knight's hanging. White's now done a transfer of advantages, given back the material for a powerful outside pass pawn and a rook on the 7th rank. Exchange of transfer of advantages, let's say. Knight f6. The one thing that I'm very concerned about is c4. That move could really cause white some serious problems. c4 is going to break the center. It gives him a powerful passed pawn, maybe bishop c5. So right about now, can black do it? Let's see the engine. It's the best move, but it's not enough. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Look at that. If c4, rook takes g7, of course. Rook takes g7, king takes g7, bishop takes h6 check. All part of the plan from Yabatis, of course. So rook b8. There goes a pawn, and now it's just game over. Outside pawn, two bishops, better pawn structure, safer king. White has everything you could ask for in life. Very nice. Wow. Fish Rock Cal, thanks for joining us. Yabatis just made a brilliant queen sacrifice. Queen e2. Bishop g7 check. King h7 only move. Bishop f8 check. King. I was kind of lost at this point, to be perfectly frank. Black just loses everything. Nice game, Yabatis. Because the key point was if king g6, bishop f7 check, king h7, bishop h5 check wins the queen back. So that's not much of a queen sacrifice. You actually win a whole queen back. In the game, he went here. In the game, he went king h8. And now it's just a knight with mate. Mate in 11. Now it's not mate in 11 anymore. Apparently he missed the mate in 11. Wow. I mean, this is just too much with these two rooks and the two bishops. I mean, I thought that black would try to take the pawn on a5. Rook takes a5. Bishop e6 check. It's just mate immediately. King f8, rook b8, bishop b8, rook takes b8. Beautiful game. So wonderful queen sacrifice by Yabatis. And now rook h7, queen d3, and then the rook h8. Black can't do anything with the lone queen on d3, and it's forced mate. Game over. Checkmate. Good game. That's one of the most beautiful queen sacrifices we've seen here in a while. Okay, let's move on. Bob is here. Now we can start. Bob, Mr. Coffee, Asterbait, HTFP, Fish Rat Cow. Thanks to all you guys. IVYM for resubscribing. Blobix is up next. You guys beat Asterbait to the punch this time. Very hard to get your game in before Asterbait. Blobix said he won't submit any of our Sveshnikovs, but another one that I played some weeks ago in a 15+5 simul against Hikaru. Which he imported here from another source. So this is Blobix playing against Mr. Naka. Let's check it out from Blobix's perspective. Again, I tell this story all the time, but one of the first chess books I ever bought, on the opening at least, was Andras Shadoryan's book on the Sveshnikov Sicilian, and it was overwhelming. I was basically like an unrated 1200 rated player, and I couldn't, really fathom this opening. It's so complicated after c5 and knight c6 and cd, knight takes d4. I mean, knight f6, knight c3. We saw this in the no, it wasn't a black is okay. It was Pergamon Press. Adorian wrote extensively about the Sveshnikov in his own Black is Okay, stuff, but he did publish a kind of standalone book with that really nice, nicely done Pergamon publishing house. They did a lot of stuff for chess openings that was high quality back in the 80s. So this wasn't like directly published by by Sveshnikov. All right, excuse me, by Adorian. So e5, knight db5, d6. So knight d5 now. I don't think this is better than the main lines against the Sveshnikov, but because Fabiano played this so many times against Magnus in the World Championship, knight d5 became a trend. It's like the same reason why half the world is playing the London system, because Magnus played the London system. I mean, there were lots of people who played the London system for the last 100 years, but it only became like a fashion when Magnus started playing it. Same thing here. I mean, this move is not necessarily better than anything else, but that's the fashion now. So, top grandmaster following fashion. All right, knight d5, ed, knight e7. There's also knight b8. I don't know what, that's the more common move, right? The more usual. Knight e7. c4, knight f5. It's kind of like a good version of what I tried to play against you. A better version. In my case, I had a bishop on e3, Blobix, and you don't really want to be giving that bishop up to the knight. Chess Poems said, "What's up? I am Sladgie." He donated 25 bits. Thank you, sir. Chess Poems with 25-bit donation. New to the stream, perhaps. Guys, don't forget that I do have a YouTube channel where I upload all the replays, essentially. Video chess training on YouTube. So, like the YouTube channel. Check out our Discord. We also have a Discord. Pub Sladgie on Discord. Alright. I don't know this variation too much. Bishop d3 is normal. Another opening where this happens, Blobix, is some lines of the Alyekin's defense, where you see this sort of structure. I mean, occasionally in the Najdorf as well. Video is kind of an outdated term. Bob is an outdated term. All right. Good comeback. Castles. Queen c2. I can't say enough bad things about the placement of queens on c2. I think the only time it's good is probably like some variations of the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit is all I can really think of. Oh, you've been around, but your username was different. You started the stream, went with my lichess username, Chess Poems. Cool. So, this is an unusual move. Hikaru here doesn't want to give up his secret preparation. I think it slightly misplaces the white queen, but I mean, there could be some points to it. I mean, it's possibly supporting c5. It might weaken the black king side. Not the most useful move. I mean, the queen is extremely flexibly placed here on d1. Marcel Cisniega, Mexican grandmaster, had the same game in 1978. But obviously, I mean, g6 is a normal move for black to play anyway, so this isn't really inconveniencing Blobix too much. I think this break could be dangerous. Maybe. But maybe not yet. I mean, like c5, it's no big deal. You can just take it. There's no d6. But it's an idea. I call it the trash compactor. How did I do yesterday in terms of profits? I was playing just blackjack. And I was up very slightly. Very crazy up and down. But I ended up and down hundreds of dollars. But I ended up like winning $25. And just cutting into my expenses. Unfortunately, International Master Joe took a hit. He played very conservatively. I had like huge variation in my wins and losses over a period of 24 hours, playing quite a lot of blackjack, and International Master Joe took some damage. So I managed to save a little bit off my expenses. Not a big deal, though. I didn't want to play poker because, honestly, Joe doesn't play poker. We only had 24 hours, and There was like a poker tournament I could have played in, but it would have been like all night into the morning, and I wouldn't be able to hang out with my friends. So we just played blackjack all day, basically. All right, but anyway, thanks for asking, Jim. It was a good time for me, but Joe took some damage. Surprisingly, because he plays very solid blackjack. Everything statistically correct for Joe. I'm much more intuitive when it comes to my blackjack. A6, knight c3, knight h4. You know, when I first looked at this game, when you sent it to me, Blubix, you just can't help but think, yeah, I mean, you almost got something, but white is so well placed kind of centrally here. Now, it's a tough struggle. Strategically, white is better with a central space. Joe was doing fine until the last session when he ran into like a brick wall and he lost like 15 out of his last 20 hands or something. It was just brutal. I was winning until the last session too. I was still winning, but I didn't fully pay off all my expenses. F5. Of course, I mean, I would never play blackjack like there's no such thing as like being professional blackjack player. I mean, it's just another casino game. I mean, but it's just for fun. So, but you can approach breaking even if you play correctly. Bishop f1, f5, queen d1, e4. I mean, g5, wow. Hikaru here playing very fundamental. I want to say poker. Playing very fundamental chess. It looks like black's a little overextended with e4. But I mean, it's not at all easy to... How's he going to do anything about that? Essentially, Blubix looks good. I mean, I don't see f3 a realistic possibility. If f3 is not a realistic possibility, then the only thing he's got is the trash compactor, essentially with b4. b4 c5 would concern me here. You can't just sit still while white, prepares c5, in other words. So g5, bishop g3, knight g6, obviously threatening f4. So Nakamura does... I mean, I would consider maybe h4. I don't know how that works, but it looks like this is forced. And now bishop d7. Chess Poem says, I like turtles. Is this turtle related? Your friend was spamming. I would think that's not related to what's going on here. Well, I mean, the thing is, as crazy as this might seem, once you play g5, okay, just keep it in mind. Okay, all hell would break loose, but theoretically, the bishop can go to h2 and white can play g4. And then the center falls apart. So e4 falls apart. Everything falls apart. That's how white wins on the white side of the King's Indian, classical King's Indian. When white lures black into playing e4. The idea is to counterattack with g4 and then break the center. But can Hikaru do that here against Blubix without jeopardizing the safety of his king, essentially? Can white play g4 in the future? He's not going to be around to find out because he first plays c5. Wow. I guess this is probably difficult to assess. I mean, I would certainly consider taking on c5. My first reaction here is take on c5, d6, bishop f6, queen d5, check, king h8, show me the money. Is there another move, like something like queen b3, bishop c4? Well, because, I mean, I'm not using the engine here, but I want to know the refutation of d takes c before I analyze anything else. This is the first move I want to look at, because you got to show me, White has to demonstrate here, you know, okay, yes, he has his passed pawn. Yes, his passed pawn is strong. You like queen takes c5. Aha. So bishop f6, queen d5, check, king, I don't know where. g7 or h8, I'm not sure. Let's just say h8, so the bishop has retreat square. And Blobik's, of course, the queen getting in the way of this knight. Blobik's saying, like, simply queen takes c5. I'd almost be willing to bet this has to be okay for black. I'm riding the fence on everything, but I'm gonna say I don't think this can be worse for black. I mean, give me bishop c6. Give me rook c8. I mean, any of these moves, look at your pieces. Every single one of black's pieces is extremely active. Plus f4 is hanging in the air. Sacrifices like f4, e3, feeder sacrifice. Just open it up. This has got to be better for black. So d takes c5. Let's see. Yeah, this is the first variation it looked at was what we said. Second variation is queen b3, king h8, queen b7. Which is something else that Hikaru might have played. Alright, so you didn't do that. I want to say I think Hikaru bluffed you here, you know, with this. Well, I mean, you wanted more. I don't think it's crazy to want more. I mean, I think you just have to analyze rationally the variations. What's forced? What's the forced variation? I don't think it's irrational to want more. You know, there was that game in the World Championship match where Fabiano, like, self-destructed. Do you guys remember? One of the most critical games where, like, Fabiano just self-destructed with c6. And fell apart like a bunny, you know. Just Carlsen took the pawn or whatever. So I don't see a threat, you know. Knight f4. Excuse me, f4. And the problem with that, Blobix, is that the pawn now gets weak. I was looking at knight f4. So as to keep this pawn solid. Obviously, there'd be complications with stuff like h4, you know, maybe h6. We have all of our pawns moved in front of our king. But if you play the King's Indian, if you play the Dutch, Leningrad, if you play a lot of openings, you have to play with your king open. So let's see what he did here. He played f4. Yeah, I mean, I think this e3 is a natural idea. I wanted to do that. I don't know. I don't like losing the e4 pawn. I saw another variation where this kind of worked better, but it looks like here it's just not quite enough. This is very natural, I admit. You know, you gotta like this Jurassic variation. It just doesn't seem like quite enough. Glad. It's interesting here that Hikaru took on... No, he didn't take on f3. I was thinking he would have taken on f3. I'm surprised that's not the best move. Yeah, it is. I mean, I think you're both bluffing each other. It was a fast time control. First, like, Hikaru bluffed you with c5. Now you're bluffing him here. I mean, I don't see... I looked at this. Let's see what the engine says. I mean, there's practical chances here, you know, but objectively, it's a good Leningrad Dutch for white. So game 94. Okay, reasonable. Does bishop f5 work? No, this is dead. But you're just dying in the center. I mean, he just totally killed you in the center. The center beats the flank, I guess. Very fundamental play by Nakamura here. And Blobix is like all in. Play like a maniac against a maniac. I'm not sure if that's the way it works, Blobix, really. So on the bishop g2 line that we looked at, with here, something like queen c8, or are you talking about a different position? Because I mean, here we're looking at losing a lot of pawns and stuff. It's kind of a fantasy. It looks a little bit like a fantasy. I don't think the answer to playing against a maniac is playing like a maniac. You know, I think the opposite is the normal reaction, you know. Try to bore the maniac to death. You might want to play like a maniac against a boring player, but you want to do the opposite. No, James, I'm not doing investigations into player accounts. I have enough of that during the games, during the streams when I'm playing people. We're going to try to avoid that for today. You can ask Bob for a private investigation. He likes investigating things. So, c5, f4, bishop h2, e3, takes f3, knight e4, knight h4, cd, bishop f6, g3. Wow. I always love it when I get that bishop, you know. But here, Hikaru knows that his bishop might yet, you know, breathe a sigh of relief later on. It's only temporary. And this is a fast time control, so Blobix played this move. And so I presume the idea is something like GH, F2 check, knight F2, bishop H2, king H2, rook F2 check. Seriously, it could be dangerous. But this kills. I think that's the end of the line. Blobix is better, apparently. Wow, I thought that white was better. Totally misevaluated this. Apparently he had to allow this line. F2 check. Knight F2, bishop H2, king H2. I never would have thought you were better here, Blobix. I can't really fault Nakamura for going into this. No, I mean, I thought this was dangerous, and I also would have done the same thing Hikaru did. I would have thought I was okay after knight f2. At least that's what it looks like. It looks like, okay, everything's fine. I mean, it's not game over per se. You know, we could probably win back a pawn, you know, give back a pawn, and you look at the position, it's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against 5. A little pressure, it's blockaded. We can give a pawn back and wait. I had the same exact misconception here as Hikaru did, that other line was worse than this line. And it turns out that this line is actually worse than than the other line he should have played. I thought that white was winning here. So let's see why he's not. Knight f5. Uh-oh. Knight h1. Knight h1, of course, will be met with trouble in the form of f2 check. Knight e4, same premise. Thus, g4 seems to be forced. Bishop h2 check, king h2 check. Do you have some crazy move like bishop a4? Because I haven't looked. Do you seriously have bishop a4 here? I want to see this. My tactical spider senses, yeah. So let's see, queen a4, queen d6 check. Well, this isn't that clear, is it? Even king g1, queen g3 check, king over. This doesn't seem to work. Oh man, so there's a sick move here? Are you kidding me? This is just unclear according to the engine. So bishop a4 is winning, but I don't see it. But did you say it was winning? Blobix? Because I don't see a win. Oh, knight g3 right away. I mean, it's not like winning, 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 but it's better for black. Doesn't look like you missed like a forced win or anything, though. Oh my gosh. Yeah, g4. So you didn't have like a clear forced win. This is a very hard move to find. That's the best move, apparently. You know, I could have found bishop a4, but I think I would have hit a dead end here. Where's the draw? There's a draw here. Knight g3. Okay, there's a lot of chess left in this position, actually. Knight g6 and knight f5. Knight g6 instead of knight f5. No, but this is the move. This is the crazy move that Stockfish wanted to play. Beautiful game. Okay, Bobix, it was very tough to find these lines. So finally you played bishop takes h2 check, king h2, knight h4. Yeah, I mean, I probably would have found bishop a4, but I'm not sure I would have been able to continue after that properly. I don't know if I would have found how to continue in this position. Yeah, it's hard to find that g4 move was crazy. No, I think I would have like probably lost here because I wouldn't have found knight g3. It's like threading a perpetual sort of thing with knight e2. Mule Skinner just subscribed with Twitch Prime for 22 months. Now, looks the best you can do is draw here. This was Blobix's game against Hikaru. King h2, knight h4, e4. And we're still alive. Nice blockade. He only has 3 connected pass pawns. But I don't see, how this is going to end in a draw. Either we have something or we don't. Really, really hard to see how black's going to play this. Man, that's just brutal. One last chance. Nice try. That was just mean. You know, he could have taken here on g2 and won simply. Instead, he just calculated he can sacrifice his queen. Fancy. Fancy play. I think he actually couldn't. He actually take it. I'm not sure if Hikaru missed this, but he could literally take this, right? Yeah, this is not the place for that. Please, no more talk about this submitting games or whatever. This is an analysis stream of serious games. Please don't distract the chat. I mean, King F2 is a killer. There's no way to get back. There's like one check. Just over. Alright. Good try, Blubix. What can I say? So next game was submitted by Ferrum Lutzis. Not this one. Guys, please support the stream. Blubix, Dragon BC. Let's start a bit war. Jim, Alms on Twitch, Asterbait, Bob Sacamano, Chess Poems, Percy. Well, not a great result, but but a great battle by Blobix, I would say. I don't know about the the result, Jim. For me, it's a draw. All right. Well, you know, it's everybody. The result is open to interpretation. I'm results oriented. All right. We've got Ferrum Lutzis, one of our subscribers. He submitted a game. He played against Urion. All right, d4, knight f6. Ferrum Lutzis is white. His opponent here had a very low centipon loss, like 14 centipon loss, 1 inaccuracy, 1 mistake. g6, g3, bishop g7, bishop g2. I wonder if black could possibly have been a computer. I mean, I'm sorry. Black could have been a computer. Probably not. Paranoid. Castle, castle, d5. Anyway, we'll focus on the chess side of this. White now plays bishop g5. That's just a totally strange move. It was played by Elsan Muradiabadi in 2014 and by a very young Humpy Kunaru. This move really has no place in the world of chess. It has no retreat diagonal. There's no threat, and knight e4 could be a strong move. So there's like 3 reasons why bishop g5 is not good. This was played by Safarli in that game. Fundamental move. I think it's one of many good moves for black here. h6. That might kind of play to white's plan. Knight e4 looks good. It's like a free tempo. Played by Nepomniachtchi. Okay, here, e3. This is a Botvinnik concept on the black side of Grunfeld where you want to recapture with the e-pawn. I don't see why black is benefiting from this exchange right away on d4. I think he should probably keep the tension. This gives gives white the retreat with the bishop back to c1. Approximately equal now. Very nice Tarash looking position. I'm starting to like black. Systematic. So his biggest mistake according to the engine, yeah, just blundering a pawn. So much for our theory that black was computer. How did black actually... So how did black get through this with 14 cent pawn loss when he just drops a pawn here? That doesn't make sense. Somebody was analyzing this with their mobile phone. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know how you can rationalize that. So black just lost the pawn for nothing. Not a good idea. So essentially like a winning position for white. I can see how there's some e5 here, but I would think you'd probably want to play rook d1. You looked at this with your Nokia 3310 earlier. Yeah, Mule Skinner, that's what it feels like. A lot of times I would go to play poker, and like one of the poker players' friends would be like, that's the classic, like, will you play like my phone in chess? Like, I want to see if you can beat the phone. And I'll tell you, it's not that easy to beat the phone. I mean, they're kind of like bad, but not, they don't make like huge blunders and stuff. It was very tedious playing against phones. Rook d1 I was expecting. This is a very solid move though. Preempting e5. Preparing rook on a to d1. Maybe the best move. Captain Umka asked, hello, on the site, can you create a game from a certain point? We want to replay the moment with a friend, do not know how. Yeah, you want to go under Tools Analysis Board. Tools Analysis Board or Tools Board Editor. Actually, Board Editor would be the place to go on lichess. Alright, so e5. We just dropped the pawn back. Now it's just a draw. How could white have avoided this? He didn't calculate in advance. This cute move, rook e5, rook d5. It's not that easy for white to win this, to be honest. You're welcome, Captain Umka. Guys, subscriber stream. Bit war, come on. Yes. Let's do a bit war. Yes! That's my favorite one. For the panda. Pandas are starving. They need food. My coach lost his bankroll. My coach lost his blackjack bankroll. I have to grow more plants in the yard. Alright. Let's go. $14 pawn loss. Pretty solid for a guy who just dropped a pawn. Basically, he dropped a pawn and played the rest of the game perfectly. Now it's a draw. But, I mean, okay, what was this? Rook takes, queen takes b2, queen d8, check, bishop f8. My instinct is that white's going to lose a pawn now, but it's still some sort of perpetual. This is the key position. So bishop c5. It's just a draw by repetition, like bishop c5, queen b1 check, king g2, queen e4 check. f3, queen e2 check, bishop f2. That's not a draw by repetition, but it would pull the white bishop away. Let's see. Why is f3 bad? Yeah, I'm crazy, so that's like playing for a loss. We just have to take the draw. King G1 is just a draw. Forced draw. So there's nothing to see here, kids. Move along. It's a forced draw. I was looking at f3, but it's like we're down a pawn. We should be happy that we're drawing. Like, there's no move. Black has to take a draw by repetition. So it was a simple blunder by white with this king f1. I don't know why you would, I don't really know what would possess you to want to go to f1 in the first place. It was a boring game. I don't know, not to hurt his feelings, but I don't think there's much to see here. This actually just drops a piece, so it's not boring anymore. Terrible blunder and white loses. Now it's just over, nothing to see. I don't know, I would have just resigned here. Strange game. What can we say, guys? All right, Bob. We had a couple subscriptions today. A resub from Mule Skinner and a resub from Ivy. Let's get some bit donations going. Don't forget, tomorrow, Black played perfectly, Jim. Well, except for dropping a pawn for nothing, like on move 14. I mean, that's like crazy. Hard to really understand this game. It was kind of weird. Just dropped a pawn. So then he played perfectly except for that. You never know. We're going to do Acerbate's game next, but I wanted to remind everybody, Friday, tomorrow is a daytime stream. We're streaming in the daytime so that the European players can watch at 12:30 Eastern Time. Fast Friday Blitz, 12:30 Eastern Time. Just 5+3. I'm taking all challengers. Kind of a weird game. Okay, I don't know why this one you would choose to submit it, honestly. Thursday's commentary game submission. Benoni defense, check. Benoni defense. Nice. Kemster. Alright, one of our regulars. Acerbate here playing black in the check Benoni we haven't seen in a while. I can't believe they did it again, man. I mean, everybody plays e5, d takes e6. This is such a bad move for white. I admit that it's frustrating to play closed positions with locked pawns if you don't like closed positions and you like to play like with a lot of tactics and flowing open games. But objectively, you know, probably white shouldn't be playing d4 if he doesn't like this position. You just shouldn't be playing d4. Start playing e4. Seriously, that's all I could say. If this move appeals to you, then you should stop playing d4 now, Kemster, and start playing like e4 on the first move, because clearly you'd be better suited to try to get maybe some sort of open game here. All right, so classic mistake. We've seen it so many times. e5, white has a space advantage. What? Let's trade off our strong pawn on d5. It's funny that one player played d takes e6 here, but that's not the right idea. You're welcome, Bob. Now you know what e4 looks like. I just wanted to show Kemster. So, f takes e6 toward the center. This is an important lesson for Acerbate because he needs to understand the feature of this game is about the d file. Okay, it's about the backwardness of black. I'm not sure if I looked at this yet. I saw another one of Acerbate's games where this became a really major feature early on, and it has been an issue in the past. I'm trying to remember. What we're really hoping, obviously this is hope chess, but we would like white to exchange c takes d5, e takes d5. Yeah, I think I saw this, you know, and so I said to Acerbate, look, you should play d5. Under no circumstance should white exchange pawns here, but a lot of people will. This is a very poor move. I think it brings the e6 pawn to a strong position on d5. It trades a strong pawn on c4 for a weaker pawn on e6 while opening the bishop up from c8. Always my pleasure to bring you 1e4, Bob. Everybody, thanks for watching. We're analyzing games here with subscribers. This is Check Benoni, where white played a very bad move. The classic en passant, like they just want to do en passant for the fun of it, basically. If white had one more move, I would like white, kind of. If he had like a free move, do something like 2 moves in a row, g3, knight h3, I'd start to kind of like white here. This is an extremely passive bad reaction. You can see like any good players who actually play this play g3. I mean, right out the gate, Acerbate's used to playing like the Owen defense, so he may be thinking of like b6, bishop b7. You can go that route, but at the end of the day, what is going on along this file here? It just feels like white has a kind of nagging pressure, and we're always going to be backward along that file, and it could take different forms, like maybe knight c3, you know, knight b5, knight d6. Of course, he shouldn't have necessarily blocked in his bishop on c1. Yeah, I think this is the wrong idea. Acerbate says playing Acerbate is like having free moves. You do like to hand out some tempi now and then. But the d5, you got to make yourself comfortable with going for this d5. The question will be how you continue after that. If white maintains the tension, knight c6, then what do we do? Like maybe bishop d7, queen e8, try to sneak over here with the queen, sort of Dutch defense style. You know, another problem with your setup, I think, is the bishop on e7. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that's the best place for the bishop. If you play d5 right away, yeah, I said d5 right away. If you played d5 right away, it'd be cool if we could get like an ALEXA that controlled the lichess to just tell it to do stuff. They gotta implement that. Wouldn't that be awesome? A lichess voice controlled robot, basically. Just say the moves, and it just moves the pieces. Alright, but anyway, I'm thinking like this bishop belongs on d6. Nice diagonal. It gives you a little more space than with the bishop on e7. The queen might be able to come here and have a good square. Jim actually gave me credit for a cool idea. I feel happy. Oh no, yeah, that's our analysis variation. So bishop e7 here, here, here. Kind of ugly. Although I still don't like white. We haven't solved our backwardness along the d file. And I mean, this is a strategic atrocity. Some semi-atrocity. The creation of a strategic atrocity. These squares. The stagnant pawns. Backward on the open line here. Oh, that's a cool thing, Mule Skinner. The blindfold chess while cooking. That's awesome. I think maybe Acerbates should think about a6 and b5. I don't understand why he puts his knight on d7 here. This seems like a clearly better square. I remember seeing this game now, and there's a really cool moment. Yeah, so the engine finds this move g4, which is it's just mind-blowing, you know, for the average chess player. I mean, it looks like your king is just totally opened up in a position where you have absolute king safety. g4, the idea would be to drive the knight away from the center, away from e4, open the long diagonal for that bishop on b2. But that's beyond the comprehension of 99.5% of chess players. The other point of the move is that the knight needs a square. The secret of this position is that Asterby's actually threatening to trap a piece with g5. Well, obviously white is not an engine. He just played bishop g4. Maybe this was a mouse slip. You know, this hadn't occurred to me. It actually makes perfect sense. I mean, white essentially played a perfect game. Not a perfect game, okay, but he played very logically. In fact, knight h4 was a very incisive. You don't think this is a mouse slip, Jim? Well, what is the possible, like, justification of this move? But it loses a piece, like, with tempo. Maybe he was looking at the engine and it said play g4 and he, like, misunderstood and transmitted the move bishop g4. You have to be in the right Ancient Aliens kind of paranoid perspective, you know? But it's possible, okay? I'm just trying to think in what world bishop g4 would be a good move. Think about it. In what world would bishop g4 be a good world? Like, if there's no knight on f6, then it's a good exchange of bishops or something. But in that case, your knight would be hanging on h4. I mean, this is just the craziest blunder I've ever seen. Uber Driver says, even if you don't lose a piece, you must love knight e5 and knight d3. Yeah, I mean, the whole game could just totally change into Asterbate's favor because of the space he gained with e4. What's remarkable is how strong white's position is after g4. He can play like king h1, have pressure down the g file, like a bayonet attack kind of thing. The knight pops back to g2. He's playing g5, undermining this, opening up the bishop on b2. Like, the whole position just blossoms for white. And instead, he lost a piece. So, Asterbate was pretty brutal here. I thought white should take back with the pawn. This is obviously a lost position. He takes with the knight. It's just over. Asterbate certainly doesn't play perfectly, but he's pretty good about not making overt blunders. And usually when someone gives him a piece, it's like game over. White here trading pieces unnecessarily. Went down a piece already. This is a classic moment. This is the actual position from the game. The actual game was rook f8. Like, Asterbate wasn't paying attention and he didn't mate in one, so he played this instead. Well, it's safe. Okay, that was entertaining, but really poor play by Asterbate's opponent. And I think Asterbate played the opening badly. The takeaway isn't about what happened at the end. The takeaway was Asterbate's handling of this opening. Well, no, you can't play like this. Early on, the structure indicates that black needs to play d5, Astrobate. And then, okay, this hanging pawn thing is probably not so bad. But you're going to need to play it like a hedgehog, you know, like knight c6, a6, bishop d7, you know, slowly. But e5 is just, I think it's bad. I mean, this is just really bad strategically. Big hole on d5, inflexible pawns. Maybe even there you should play about for b5 is what I was thinking. If you can do it. It's not good to have this Botvinnik. Okay, it's not good to have this Botvinnik pawn formation, probably where you're facing a lot of pressure frontally. Jim's suggestion of b6 and bishop b7 would be okay. I think that's the only other credible way to play the position, Jim. So in other words, if Astrobate continues something like, okay, b6, yes, bishop b7, knight c6, something like that, you will always have this pressure you're feeling a little bit, yeah, but it happens in the Nimzo and Hedgehog type positions. I agree. b5 is interesting suggestion from Uber Driver. A delayed Blumenfeld gambit. Yeah, I like that idea. That is a really cool idea. The delayed Blumenfeld from Uber Driver. Nice. Nice. We could even transpose. There's a game here. Sergei Goregliad. Right? No, that's cool. Great idea. Mule Skinner if there's time. Alright, let's move on, guys. Subscriber stream. Save a Dog, Jim, Uber, Move 11, Mule Skinner. I like the suggestion of Uber Driver. Can you ignore the pawn on b5? Of course. You can try, my friend. But he's going to take on c4 and then hit you with d5. I mean, you could play something like b3 takes, bishop takes, d5, bishop back. Just play like bishop b2. It's probably like around equal. Like declined Blumenfeld. But Take Back suggested that. Not my favorite idea though. Okay, Save a Dog. Hi, this is Over the Board game from Chess Club this last Tuesday with Black. Here are your thoughts on taking advantage of White's inaccuracy for 12 c3 hound 40 the attack against White's king after castle's queenside. Thoughts on the opening. Alright, let me copy and paste this. 12 c3. Game ended shortly after. What did I just do? Take Back is Black. Every 5-year-old child knows 20 moves of theory in this variation. This is one line. I don't really know why, you know. The natural reaction is because White controls e5 to play knight d7. I kind of like e6, this variation where you almost like induce White to play knight e5. Alright, but anyways, this is standard. Of course, I mean, the classic move is like bishop f4, queen a5 check. Bishop d2 is very popular. Main line. As you can see, there's like many different ways for Black to proceed here. I don't know what the best is. I've experimented with some crazy moves like a5. But I'm not any authority on this. What happened to Grishuk in the last game against Nepomniachtchi, where he just like put his knight on a5? Maybe he's just in a bad period. having a bad time of it. I think a lot of times chess players' results are erratic based on, you know, they're not computers, they're humans with like personal lives and stuff. So maybe he's playing too much poker. I don't know. Who knows, you know? Maybe he has a problem with his girlfriend, or you never know why somebody's off for a period. There's just too many variables. Maybe it's just coincidence. Knight on BD7. Yeah, I mean, C3, this is like the worst move I've ever seen. Self-destruction. It's absurd, you know, it's patently absurd. I mean, quite frankly, you know, Black will go through... Black has variations where he tries to induce White to play C3 in order to make castling queenside less attractive in some variations here. I mean, C3 now voluntarily is like the most ridiculous move I've ever seen. At least in this type of position, you know, it's just crazy. C4 I could understand, but not C3. I think when you encounter a very strange move like this, you really need to sit there and ask yourself, my opponent just made a strange move. I mean, what can I do to actively punish that move, if it's possible? And if not, then we play some kind of routine move like your move bishop e7. You think White wants b4, b5. I mean, I think that's like a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. I mean, the guy's played h4, h5 on the king side. He's going to play like b4, b5 on the queen side, a4, a5, a6, or what? Like, you're making fundamentally sound moves. He can't just... Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what you figure he's going to try to do, but it's certainly... I wouldn't give him that much credit, you know, that b4 is a plan. White's a 10-year-old girl. Well, that could be a master, or it could be... They can be pretty scary. I don't like playing 10-year-old kids. Okay, c3 just seems kind of like an irrelevant move, but I wouldn't give them credit. Like, that's a plan of b4. I would think that White is just like overprotecting their central pawn or something. You know, I definitely wouldn't anticipate like b4 as some sort of aggression or aggressive plan. Fuchsia's here. What's up? So these moves are kind of bad. I mean, c3 and castles queenside. Fuchsia's actually here. It's good because we have the Caro-Kann on tap, and we're analyzing a Caro-Kann. She showed up, of course. Fuchsia will tell you as well that c3 is a very silly move by White, and it really has like no point. Well, yes, take back. In many variations, White plays c4 followed by bishop c3. That could be. I've suggested the a5 plan. I don't know how c3 factors into that. Normally when I play a5, a4, I try to play with the idea of possibly playing a3 or possibly something like queen a5 or maybe b5. You even have to consider b5. But the most important thing to consider is where you're putting your king here, sir. Queen a5, king b1. Looks good for White. Knight c5, c5. You can just castle. But whenever you castle in these type of short castle lines where White's castle queenside, I mean, it's obviously a matter of time until... My gut instinct is castling's alright. Because if white tries anything like this and tries to play for g4, g5, you have the very quick, like, take, queen a5. Possibly knight f6. I sound like the guy from Ancient Aliens now. Maybe even like queen f5, trading queens. Maybe sneaking this pawn. It does look kind of dangerous, though. What would the engine do? Hey, maybe we don't. Actually, that doesn't matter. Knight e4. Knight c5, triple exclam. It's just like a fancy move for the sake of being fancy. Probably not good. Move 11 suggesting knight e2 or knight f1. I mean, those moves look, honestly, okay, knight e2, like, maybe, but knight f1 looks a little bit too eccentric. I'm not going for that move 11. Knight e2. But, I mean, this is like a standard move. Alright, let's see what happens. So a5, I like it. I've suggested this plan. Now, just because we played a4, a5, I don't want to sort of give you guys the impression that I think that black should necessarily play a3 automatically. Because if you play a3 and white plays b3, ultimately, you know, your pawn is fixed on a dark square, and you have a dark square bishop, he has a dark square bishop, that can be good for white. So, we might want to wait, and I think that you do the right thing here with b5. This is like, my God. It's such a bad telegraphic move. She might as well write on a piece of paper and hold it up like, I'm going to play for g4. I mean, it's... You never want to do a move like that where you're basically telegraphing your intention completely. She hasn't even moved her knight yet, and she's putting her rook on g1. I guess I won't castle now. b5's great. And now, I don't know. You know, maybe not knight b6 because you need the knight to control, like, c5. I'm thinking queen b6, supporting c5 somehow. Can we try c5 as a pawn sacrifice? It's probably too much. I'm just thinking open lines. I mean, this would really turn into a kind of race scenario where your Benko Gambit isn't fast enough. I mean, that would be like walking right into white's attack. Okay, we don't want to do that. I mean, it might turn out that knight b6 is a good move, but I like keeping an eye on e5. I want to play c5. Perhaps queen b8 is a move. Yeah, queen b6 is my first idea. It's the most natural move. I'm also looking at queen b8. I don't want to castle. You know, basically the move has to fit this formula. We don't castle, and we're supporting the queenside advance. Let's see what Stockfish says. Stockfish goes with the pawn sack. My God. Queen b5. I didn't think we could get away with this, guys. This is exactly the line that I said. Except it's not going to castle. It's going to play queen c7 first. It's going to castle. Well, I would assume that g4. Wow. The engine thinks you have a raging attack here. I don't know. You know, that I would have found it. I had the right idea, but I didn't really place this. There is an idea to trap the queen with c4. Knight e3. And now a3. This is extremely deep computer idea. That's the second point. So c4 is an amazing move. I mean, what this does, not only threaten to trap the queen in some positions, with obviously rook a5. Hello. But this is setting up a3 when b3 won't be available like it used to be. Right. Man, so that's devastating. I was only thinking about the open line idea, but this c4 is like a second dimension to this pawn sacrifice. So it looks like this was really strong. You strike first with c5, and black is better. Okay, so let's see what happens. Queen e2, a4, rook b5, knight f1. Right, knight b6. The problem with this is that it's kind of time consuming. It also takes the pressure off of e5. This knight is just lonely. Extremely lonely. I didn't notice that the queen couldn't take f or on a4 Shatranchi. So that's a nice idea as well. Oh man, what's this? So b3, show me the money. Double attack, double attack. Oh no. Well, you just failed to calculate. Bob donated for a lemon party. What's a lemon party? I'm just not up on that. So it's just like a failure to calculate. What we have here is a failure to communicate. A lemon is a bad chess move. But honestly, I mean, I think that he set himself up for this with the previous lemon. Like, this knight is just asking for trouble. You're putting the knight out there undefended. It's bound to be a problem. And the other problem with the move is that I don't like the fact that we're ultimately, like, trading for a bad bishop. Like, best case scenario. Blobby donated 300 bits. You got an emote thanks to Blobby's cheer. Pride Lion, hey. I like the lion pride. So I think 94, it goes against some kind of principles. It's a good idea. If you had several moves in a row, you know, you also saw g4, g5 on the horizon. But it's not a developing move, really. You know, we need to develop. Maybe this one isn't as bad. How would the game have gone? I mean, I'm very afraid of 95. I mean, this is why knight b6, I really caution people not to do this, because that's a huge square. If your knight goes away, then how are you going to guard e5? No, in this instance, maybe you have queen d5 hitting that, king b1, and I mean, there might be some situation where you trade queens, you hit e4, or, you know, you hit f2. Maybe like you're expecting this kind of line. But in general, I mean, I know this was hard to find, but I like the idea of going forward with the pawns, not knight b6. But up until this point, you're still okay. I mean, even if you were to just take on d2, how bad is this position for black? Is it even bad for black? It's better for black, apparently. Even though it looks like white has a scary g4, g5, it's not even a threat yet. Lemon Party is a classic troll link. 25 tub girl. I mean, you got to keep in mind, this is not a threat. So you just made a terrible, terrible howler here. Knight d5, knight d5. Oddly enough, it's not too late to play knight takes d2. And then Stockfish is just amazing here. It's like cd, queen b5 check, king f8. And even this is okay. Which is amazing. I mean, you're playing without a rook. You're down a pawn. But because the knight is so strong, attacking f2, attacking c3, c-line, advanced pawn on a3, even this variation is okay for white. Someone on sound arriving just in time to see where Bob is causing trouble. Imagine that. These guys are bonding. Big unsound. 100% troll bonding. So it was unfortunate for you. I mean, you just didn't calculate, though. I mean, that's disappointing. Easy to calculate that. You just let yourself down. Wow, that's a lot of emotes. Blubby just went crazy with the emotes, the pride emotes. I like the idea A4, A5. We've been working on this in my games, you know, occasionally in the Caro-Con here on the stream, using this A5, A4 idea. I think you were really close to it working, you know. That C5 is tough to find. Okay. We've got another hour left in the stream. Good to see someone on sound. So Jim is up next. Uber, Move 11, and maybe Mule Skinner. Just for fun, the 3-0 game played against a random guy on Forbidden website. Here I used the bad Larson attack. I wanted to confirm how bad it really is. How bad is it? Why is it a bad Larson attack? I didn't say that, did I? I never said it was bad. I don't really agree that it's bad. I don't think I ever said that, but I'm not sure you're referring to me. I just get bored of playing the same position. In local... Oh, this variation is bad. Okay, in local... Wow. Stockfish claiming a 0.1 advantage with b3. I mean, what does Stockfish say after c4? You know what? That's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't mean to get away from Jim's game here. What do you guys think about that? I mean, Stockfish says that c4 is 0 and b3 is 0.1. It pretty much kills my belief in the English opening. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Okay, b3, e5, bishop b2, e3. So far, so good. And now Black played the very strange move a6, which I don't know if I've ever tried against you. But that's the Petrosian Queen's Indian type of idea. I know I've played it against Jim in similar types of positions. I've done it in the d5 type. I don't know if I've done it here, though, Jim. I mean, I've done it after d5, knight c6, and a6. But I'm not sure I've tried it, you know, here with e5, knight c6, and a6. I mean, that's a slightly different position. Now White can play c4 and transfer to an English opening, because the English opening already, you know, didn't offer an advantage in the first place. Man, Stockfish hates the English opening. It's like minus 0.3 now. I'm turning off this engine. So knight f3. Good God, man. This is what you meant by it wasn't good. Oh, this is some kind of Jabava blitz move. Oh, that's just sick. I mean, obviously this would be like viable if black had played f6 at some point, you know. The minute that black plays f6, f4 becomes possible because you know, you have like queen h5 check justifications and but come on now, f4. All right. Just for fun. Now what are we going to do? I don't want to take on f4. I hate taking on f4. Not a developing move. The engine likes queen e2 check. Yawn. Click whir. So what does black do after that? He probably has to... Oh my gosh. This is awkward. That would be awkward for black. So it's like he has to play either... It's like he has to play king f8. Oh my god. Stockfish likes this for black. Bishop e7. Bishop f6. gf. It thinks that black is better here. Yeah, maybe. That's a little hard to play, though. Anyway, let's see what's this, just for fun. 3-minute game. All right, 95 castles. Big control of e5. I mean, why go half hog here? Is that a word? You can have a whole hog. Bobby is analyzing b3 versus c4. Come back to me with a report tomorrow. I'll be thinking about it too. I'll ask the International Master Joe what he thinks. He's licking his wounds from his blackjack losses. He's depressed. We had a late night last night. We stayed up until about 4. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night due to blackjack. But he's recovering now. Why not put the bishop on d3? I mean, I know you want to put it on f3. I understand. We lost our big guy, but that bishop looks kind of ill. Does my wife know about Joe? She knows about Joe. It's ironic because she has a man staying at our house there too. All right. Knight takes c6, b takes c6, bishop d3, bishop g4, queen c2, h6. There's a huge hole here. No, I'm not into Joe. He's not my type, Bob. You're more my type. Bob, if I were gay, I would go for you, believe me. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I told you before. I'm a lesbian. I'm sorry, Bob. Bishop g4, queen c2, h6, knight d2. What's going on with this knight? It can't get in there? Doesn't fit? We have knight c4, of course. Okay, I understand. Yes. Nice. But the poor guy gets a question mark for d5. I mean, it blatantly looks like white is threatening knight c4 right now. Anyone in their right mind would play d5, probably. Right? I mean, this move is about to ruin his day. Winning a piece or just stopping all the fun. I guess it's not winning a piece. Okay, he's going to go here. Okay, so it's not necessary to play this. But if you go here, you get met with that, you know, which is like awkward. That's the point. The stockfish finds a cool move. I don't know, bishop e2. Let's see what happened. Here, confessions. Send it to a tabloid, Bob. If black achieves c5, he might be good. You have a pattern in your play there, Jim. c5, very logical. I'm looking for some kind of crazy tactic here. I don't see anything. Nimzovich gives up the D. He gives up to center to get the d4 square. No, I didn't see any tactics take back. Just dreaming of a white Christmas. I mean, a long diagonal here. Obviously, the rook across is a move. I mean, this bishop d6 move, obviously, his knight is driving the guy crazy. That piece is single-handedly ruining black's day, and white is finally threatening c4. No, you can't do knight f7 and give up two pieces. The minor pieces are too valuable in this kind of open, middle game open position. Yeah, there's no contest. You never do like knight f7, bishop g6 check-in, and take the rook and pawn for the two pieces in an open game. Maybe in an endgame scenario. Whew, that looks good. I'm liking white here. The moment of truth. Oh, he takes on c4. Nice bishops. Beautiful thing. This is like almost suicide. So apparently he can go back here and just hang on by threads. This looks like he's going to get crushed along the F file. Jim must have basically rejected this because after FE, knight d5, it looks like there's no forced win. I mean, I'm just fantasizing, not the same kind of fantasies like Bob has, but fantasizing about stuff like rook f7. I doubt this works, but I just want to have a look at it for a minute because we're real close. Can we do this? Like long-term rook f7, king f7, queen h7. Threatening chaos and raining down lava and murder on the earth here. I mean, this looks pretty nasty. Who needs rooks? What do you think? Is rook f7 sound? Does anybody want to weigh in on it? Can we see? Should we see? Winning. Yes. My intuition. I'm a genius. Best move, man. King f7, queen h7 just wins. Wow, that's devastating. That's a beautiful thing. Those two bishops. This is why you play the Kali Zukertord or something like the Nimzovich Larson attack. Man, beautiful. That's like a evergreen game. Apparently even this wins. Surprising but true. change of direction. Yeah, beautiful thing. Okay, so he does bishop takes. It's good, but not winning. All right, now the engine pointed out he had queen g6, which is always a fun move to play. But it was a little tricky to calculate in a 3-minute game, no doubt. So he settled for just slightly better, and then this was the 3-minute resolution. Missing again, queen g6, forced checkmate sequence. Astrobate, would you find that? I like that theme. I do it in the Moscow variation of the Slavs sometimes. But Jim's method was a little too obvious. Tricked him. And now it's forced mate. Nice. He sacked his queen. Oh, that's just ridiculous. Stopping the mate. Nice job, though. I had a guy who played a mate in 10 against me. It was something like a mate in 8 or mate in 8 or something a while back. Okay, we've got 3 games left, 40 minutes. Uber Driver, move 11. And maybe Mule Skinner. Oh no. Is this it? Try the Grunfeld, managed to play an accurate game. Imagine that, Uber Driver, with an accurate game. I'll just go to the link. That's easier. So you don't play the Grunfeld normally, Uber Driver, or what? I don't really even know your repertoire, to be quite honest. All right. I play this variation with white because I'm lazy, and I found that like weaker masters don't play this particular variation very well. Weaker players, not masters, but weaker players. But objectively, e3 doesn't promise anything for white. It says that the most common move here is bishop e2, but I don't like bishop e2. It seems to me, my favorite is this. I got this years ago from Gingy. Roman had a game where he played this line with white, and I thought, okay, this is a simple way to play. It's very safe for white, but it's basically equal. Black has this way to play that's like equal, and black can try for a slightly more complicated game with like knight b6. The other way for white to play that I play sometimes is queen b3. And then it's the Botvinnik recommendation of e6. I think I once played this against Ganguly when he was a kid, and this is a favorite variation of Hungarian Grandmaster Farago Ivan. It's like very solid for white, but really doesn't promise anything. Yeah, but bishop e2, I don't know. Frankly, it's like a really juicy Schlechter Slav where you're playing c5 instead of... Well, c5 should just equalize. I mean, that's all. Notice that black even has a plus score, though. You're basically playing the white side of the Tarash. Or you could call it like a reverse... You could also call it like a reverse... I think these openings are all related, right? The Tarash, the Grunfeld, and the Catalan. Basically, it's like a Catalan with black. Reversed Catalan. They're all the same opening. The Catalan, the Grunfeld, and the Tarash are all the same opening. Revolutionary claims. Okay, queen a5. Never play queen a5. E3's oh, thanks, Fuchsia. E3 is one of my like go-to variations. Fuchsia just trashing it. I say that Queen A5 is always bad. No, but seriously, it's a standard Catalan idea. I would bet I could even come up with like a theoretical novelty here if I wanted to. Probably like Bishop E6. Theoretical novelty. But don't tell Magnus Carlsen. You haven't seen me play blackjack, Fuchsia. You're in trouble. You don't really know me. You won't like me when I'm angry. Bob's like, it's kinky. It's my personality. I'm more passive. Alright. C5, D takes C5, Queen A5. Probably the best move, but I don't like bringing the queen out. If there's a better way to play this position, I think this is also fine. Like, you just take on C4, objectively. Maybe this is even a better move than Queen A5. Let's see what the engine says. No, seriously, let's check. I don't think the Stockfish is going to play Queen A5 in this position. Yeah, see? Knight E4 novelty it came up with. But anyways, I don't think we need to do that. This is the safe move. Okay, so we're basically playing a reverse Catalan now. Queen A4 Catalan, tempo down type situation. But Black's extra move is Bishop E2. Yeah, and that's just, it's very much like the Bishop F4 variation of the Grunfeld. Except your bishop's on C1. Fuchsia correctly pointing out that it's not a novelty, it's just because it's not in the lichess database. Believe me, there is a world outside the lichess database. We're well aware of that. But for the intents and purposes of like amateur players, it's really not necessary. Somewhere like a 2199 played a game and this happened. But that's neither here nor there, you know. It's logical chess for both sides. Equal. We've got a little problem with development of the bishop on C1. As Fuchsia pointed out, E3 is passive. She's correct. Very technical. Can we get more aggressive with bishop E3? I certainly would lean that way to playing bishop b3 because the position is already passive enough for white. And f7 is my favorite square. There was once an e3 Grunfeld where I beat Chess Dweeb in like 20, one of the Chess Dweebs in like 20 moves. Based on f7, bishop takes f7 sacrifice. Danish played like rook d8 or something. I just roasted him with bishop takes f7 check. Good temporary piece sacrifice. It was beautiful. Got it? You can't fall asleep on the f7 square in the Grunfeld. It's extremely, extremely dangerous. So this is definitely a bit more active. Freycinet, Vadim Milov. These guys are known passive players. Alright. But anyway, bishop e2. I'm passive aggressive. Fuchsia, I'm not passive. I'm passive aggressive. Be careful. Knight c6, e4. Uh-oh. Change in pawn structure. Change in plan. Bishop's coming out. Uber driver, uber safe with bishop g4. Just focusing on development. I think he's willing to give this up. The white square bishop we can trade off to get like good control of the dark squares. Uber played perfectly, and White played like a chicken. Knight d4 is a very chicken-like move. The best boring chess results by Hammer, Ludwig von Hammer. I did not know that about him. I think Geary is pretty boring. Though he plays like kind of sharp lines. His style is kind of like mine. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4. Like Geary tries to play correctly all the time, and that's kind of what I do. And I think that on a different level, obviously on a higher level, but it's not, you know, that's why he has so many draws. And then people will call him boring. He plays sharp variations, but he plays them correctly without doing unsound stuff. So he tries to play like a human computer, basically. Well, I don't know about risks. I mean, I think that it's like home calculated risks. You know, his risks are not real risks. They're like risks that have already been evaluated with a computer at home or something, you know? Well, he basically just lost the pawn. Uber Driver just trashed this guy. He had no chance against Uber Driver. Okay. Queen A2. I would play Queen A2 instantly. Like, there's not even a question. Computer says Rook D2, going for the positional bind, not being materialistic. This leaves E5 open, but there's no time to take pawns back. So now Uber in technical mode. One inaccuracy, 21 centimeters. Dude, they're gonna report him for being an engine, and that's over. It's a queen trade. That was easy. Obviously, White should just resign here. Now, King G7 is a strange move. I don't know. I would move toward the center, I think, like King E7. I think the King G7 is... Take back, it doesn't work like that. Like, determining whether people are engines or not is not related to average centipawn loss. I mean, most people are smart enough not to get caught, so we can't go on that really at all. I mean, obviously the blatant people who like make every single move the first choice of the engine, yeah, they'd be like 9. But you know, you can't judge based on centipawn loss whether someone's using a computer or not. It can help to judge. I know when he plays King G7, he's not a computer, because a computer definitely wouldn't play King G7. King G7 is like a lazy human move. Well, on the other hand, I mean, yes, Arsenal fan, everybody has the occasional game where it's fairly simplified and it's 10 centipawn loss. Because there just weren't any tactics in that particular position. Anyway, this is over. I mean, there's nothing to see here, folks. Just step aside. I didn't really like his technique here. But it's a pawn up. It's pretty much hard for White to do anything. He didn't play this the way I would have played it, but it was good enough. That was cruel. Cruel and unusual. Arsenal, if you get a chance... It's a little bit late, Arsenal, but we'll see if we have time. Generally, guys, I really appreciate if you let me have the analysis, the suggestions for games a little earlier. But we might be able to do a quick analysis. I got move 11. Take a look at this one, Salo Floor versus Israel Horowitz from 1945 radio match. USSR, so Floor was playing, Floor was Czech, but he played for the Soviet team. it was like CSSR, wasn't it? Later, I guess, after 1945. So USSR versus USA radio match. Solomon Floor, great favorite player of mine. Fuchsia actually should check out Solomon Floor's games because he was one of the great Caro-Kann players. One of the greatest Caro-Kann players of all time. Solomon Floor. Alright. So let's take a look. Substream. Oh, it has its own name. Alright. So I think he was one of the great, most underappreciated players of all time. Brilliant positional player. Not a household name, but just as good as many of the players from his generation. What do you mean by great Caro-Kann player? You think that's like a misnomer, Blobby? Or what? E3, E6, bishop takes C4. Okay, so it's a standard line in the Queen's Gambit accepted. Not a very trendy opening. A6, Queen E2. Looks like B5 is the modern move here. Creating more tension. Black plays Knight C6, Rook D1. Notice this game was played in 1945. That's the best move according to Stockfish. Okay, no new ideas here. This is a sharp move by Black, rather B5. You could also play Queen C7. The only thing I don't like about this, and I say this a lot over and over, I really don't have a personal preference for symmetrical pawn structures. I like imbalance, so because I'm a boring player, I prefer the pawn structure to be imbalanced. What can I say? You know, that's boring. Bishop takes C5. We've hit a tender spot. Bishop takes C5, and then A4. Very much reminds me of like a semi-Slav. We're softening up the C4 square for a future knight maneuver into here. And now this, guys, listen. Be very, very careful if you try this at home. What happens next? Okay. Here he plays B3. And I can attest from personal experience that if you play such a position, you have to be extremely careful that something bad doesn't happen with a C3 square in this type of position. That can really destroy white, you know, if you're not careful. But obviously, I mean, Floor is calculating this carefully. He's going to have something like 94 in the answer to 95. This is a classic maneuver that Rubinstein was big on. He felt that like whenever you get in 94 or 95 first, it gives you a kind of advantage. Is that queen going to get trapped on A1? There's actually a Jabava in this piano game that followed the exact same position, draw. So here, Jabava played bishop b2, not being like overly, overvaluing his bishop pair. Jabava here, very practical, giving up the bishop. Can we calculate this? Is there any hope of like trapping a queen on A1 here? I mean, obviously we have this. We have to face the reality that maybe this is just good for black. Not clear. All right. Second thing is, does the queen go to A2, hitting this? How do we evaluate this? Again, like if bishop C4, if bishop C4, knight E4. I mean, there's even attacking chances with like knight g5. I mean, this looks interesting. Unclear, according to Stockfish. So, basically, did I invent a new variation? Could this be good? The computer likes taking and just playing rook b1, so... Wow. But there's another game here, Alina Danelian played this, which does seem to focus on that weak point, you know, c3. But also better for white according to the computer. So this is interesting. There's a lot to be improved upon here, move 11. This looks kind of lazy. Frankly, I don't think I give a damn. No, but frankly, guys, I don't think that white necessarily has anything here. My concern is that this is like a Zoltan Ribley type of situation, where, you know, you can play and your king is safe. Maybe the king would be better on e7, I don't know. Trades of pieces, 2 bishops. Hard to attack the black king. Jim, thank you for the donation. I mean, if you give white enough time here, he will have threats, but it looks a little slow to develop. I didn't even consider e5. Because I've been thinking that bishop's coming to b7 all the time. The other thing with e5 is that it weakens the white squares, like f5, knight h4, knight f5 could be a problem. But, I mean, I understand there's a diagonal here. That does look kind of problematic. Kills the bishop on b2. The combinative floor. Multifaceted. What is this, a draw? Like takes, knight g5, king g7. Have you looked at this? I mean, I'm good at flash tactics. I'm looking at pawn takes bishop, knight g5, king g7. Show me the money. Queen h7 check, king f6. Knight e6. Queen is hanging on c7, but there's like rook, no. Pawn e6, no. King e6, queen h3 check. We're going to find out. You know, there's a small chance I've seen this game before. Because I've studied a lot of Floor's games. I have a book of his games. I don't remember this like offhand, but it is possible it's in my subconscious. I think it was Horowitz who paid for the subscription. You see, I was looking at this. I mean, this was my, for some reason, this was my presumption. But it's not enough. We're just done. Because the back rank, I think that black's probably winning here. So this is pretty good. I mean, obviously now the c-file pin. And there's no rook h8. So it's a nice little tactical mini by Salo. And this rook rather than the other rook, because when this drops, you don't want your rook, you know, if bishop b3, you don't want your rook hit by bishop takes b3. Neat and tidy, you know. So Floor showing multifaceted, you know, talents. He wasn't a one-dimensional player, but he was much more positional than tactical. Very good endgame technique. This is an aggro move. I remember this. Was this an endgame? Did he make it to an endgame here? No. Feels like white might have had something better there. But I mean, basically we're up 2 pawns. 1 pawn. Pawn. I analyzed this before, but I had forgotten about it. Nice game, Move 11. Thanks for sharing. Sharing is caring. And subscribing is caring. And I love you guys. Not like that, Bob. In a heartfelt, emotive way, you know. Blowbeat donated this week 800. Jim with 600. Dragon BC with 500. Let's cross the green plateau to the Emerald City. Thank you guys for supporting the stream week in and week out. Everybody, Om's on Twitch. Hopefully he'll be by tomorrow. Bob Sakamano, up to 100. Bob is now a platinum member. All right, guys, we have just 15 minutes left. So Mule Skinner, the latecomers, Mule Skinner and Arsenal fan. Quickly, you both have 7.5 minutes of my analysis time. Gotta go. The Exchange Philidor. You know what? I was looking at this the other day. The best move for black is probably knight f6. I mean, if you want to analyze it from a mathematical computer standpoint, like objectively, knight f6 is probably the best move. Although I guess after knight c3, you don't have that many options. You're gonna have to make a decision to transpose to something else again. You know, another move that's reasonable is knight c6. Of course, nobody plays this move order, but not that bad. A lot of beginners like assume this type of endgame is good, you know, but it's actually not that big a deal. All right, anyways. So I think generally speaking, I'm normally very reticent to put the bishop on c4 in these type of positions because you're setting up black for c6, d5. Knight takes e4 and d5, you know, typically. I've always just assumed that this is just nothing but trouble. The statistics are quite good for black, 33 to 29. Interesting, rook e8 has a terrific score here for black. Specialist move. Nevednichi. Nisipiano played this for black for a while. He was one very, very dangerous guy in this. Well, he is generally. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So this is Mule Skinner versus Val Giordano. And now c5. This is actually a known idea. Maybe not in this exact position, but it happens in these types of positions. White might be panicking a little bit here with knight d5. Because c4 is not like it's going to win a piece. We can put the bishop back on a2. It's not fatal. So I'm wondering about like a5 maybe. So maybe a5 just loses a pawn, sadly. Like a5 go back. So you have some sort of Kamsky-like pawn sacrifice. If you know the classical Sicilian, or there's a line in the Sicilian like that. So let's see, knight d5, knight d5, bishop d5. Well, this was nice. You know, black was very nice. They gave Mule Skinner a nice slight pull without a fight. Very safe move. Doctor positional. Okay, I'm not making this exchange on e6 unless I have a good reason to do that. Wonder why Mule Skinner is exchanging on e6. I must have missed something. Bishop c4. What are those? What are you doing, Bloby? What are you doing? All right, queen d7. I don't understand why is Muleskinner exchanging on e6 here. I wouldn't really consider that. It seems like you should try to build the position. I don't know. I know that maybe there isn't an easy solution. I mean, heck, you could even play like knight takes e6, f takes e6, bishop a2. I mean, that may not be that bad in the grand scheme of things. I mean, there's a chance this bishop gets shut out. But at the same time, I want to see what the oracle says. Oh, wow, rook a3. That's a beautiful thing. River guarding rook. Nice move, engine. I love it. Beautiful. Chinese river guarding rook. That's what the Weed Master taught me. This is from Chinese chess. It guards the river in the middle of the board. Weed Master's still recovering from his blackjack losses. Rook a3 is lovely. I don't like this premature giving up the tension here. And this c3 doesn't really do it. I mean, I understand you got to guard a4, but I think at this point I would like play knight d3 and accept the fact that the game is like equal or something. I don't know. I feel like white doesn't really have an edge here anymore. Yeah, I mean, now it's like a draw. It's equal. Draw. 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 Okay, Muleskinner's playing at 2200, and I think, you know, he played a little bit too passively because that mentality slips into your mind. Like, you're playing a higher rated player, so you kind of just have to equalize or hold a draw. But I feel like he played, yeah, he dropped the pawn now. That's an acerbate structure, we're going to call it. When you do this and you have have a backward pawn on d6, from now on to be known as the acerbate structure. Bloby was like, what if knight e6 on bishop g5? I don't know, we have to go. I got to do the Arsenal fan game too. So now black's up a pawn. Muleskinner just sort of sadly blundered a pawn. But okay, now there's some practical questions because Master's extra pawn is kind of difficult to mobilize. Queen e5 is hanging. Whoops. Master of tactics. Can't take that? You can take that because of queen g8 check. He has to. What? He didn't see queen g8 check. Oh man, you can't leave white in command here. I mean, you have to take on d6. I mean, but actually, it's kind of a weird position. This pawn may be stronger than black. White's better. White's down a pawn? No, it's even. Well, I mean, black has a 3-on-1 queenside majority, but this pawn is so strong. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. So, man, he played rook g8, though. That's kind of ugly. This pawn is a monster. This is like a chicken move. Queen d5. How's your time? 2 minutes against 56 seconds. I don't think you should trade queens here. Although maybe you're just holding a draw. The fact of the matter is I think Muleskinner is better. But he's scared of the queenside majority. But I think with queen d5... Okay, maybe you're still seriously better. I don't know. I'm a little bit frightened of that queenside majority. But maybe the truth is this is a good move anyway. It's not such a bad move. It's not such a chicken move. This endgame is better than I thought. You got a passed pawn. That looks like a goner. Black should defend the back rank first of all. Probably h6. I would guess h6. How are you going to live without defending the back rank here? Looks like it's reasonable to play h6. Very difficult endgame for black to hold. So queen d5 wasn't such a chicken move. How fast can we get the king in there? Oh no. Oh no. Rook d8? Oh man. But that's so sick. What if he had played Rook d8? Slightly wrong move order. Neil Skinner got lucky there. Alright guys, last game. Quickly, I'm going to look at... I mean, you didn't get completely lucky. I don't mean to take away the win from you. But the last move was lucky. It's a blitz game. But it was overall back and forth. Nice win, though. Okay, if you get a chance, I really appreciate it if you analyze the loss I had earlier this season. Not sure what went wrong. Okay, we've got just 5 minutes, but I'll take a quick look here. Generally speaking, this is considered to be a serious inaccuracy. Exchanging on d5 right away. So, maybe c6 is right. Grigo. David Grigo would know the best move for black here. I know this is recommended in some positions. I'm not sure if this is the right one. Not a lot of games here because nobody with white plays this way. Lars Larsbo Hansen did. CD5 doesn't seem good, but it's not that obvious to me. What's going on here? So C6 is wrong? Huh. This is surprising, you know. If you make one other movie, you could just transpose into a normal line quickly. I thought C6 is right. Apparently white can play like A3, but that's kind of lame. The engine is claiming knight on BD2, which no one had ever played. Anyway, Arsenal, I think knight A6 is interesting. This might be mentioned in some book or books on this opening. The idea of coming to B4. Because you also have knight C7, knight E6. It can be a very efficient way of transferring that knight over, you know, in a different way than is like traditionally done. That would be my guess, you know. Queen A5 check might be a good move too. I don't know. I always think that Queen A5, I feel like I'm making a mistake. But apparently Queen A5 check is good. Or at least maybe not good, but good enough for black to equalize. I don't like the queen here, personally. It just looks like you're asking for trouble. You know, I don't know. I don't want to put it there. Yeah, you might have to just go back. I mean, obviously bishop b4 is playable. Queen b6 even, but then you're walking to knight c3, knight a4 potentially. But you know, you might, let's see, knight c3. Anyway, I don't know. Queen b6 seems kind of weird. I don't really like queen c7 that much, but Guy Amagami has a game with this exact position. That's a player who I respect a lot. Bishop d6. Maybe this is only temporary. It's basically... It's like a Caro-Kann exchange variation with colors reversed. You normally would never put the queen on this square. I don't really like this for black. It is a problem. Well, I mean, if I go down on the record, I'm gonna go with knight a6 as my recommendation. But I guess here you're supposed to play queen d8. We'll trust the engine. We offer a draw. Offer draw. Accepted draw. Okay, good game. Depending on the rating of your opponent, just go home and drink a pint. Okay, knight c3, bishop d6, bishop g5 here. e3. I don't like h6, but your queen's in a weird place here. It would normally be on, you normally have your bishop on e7. You could just castle, Interesting move, knight h5. I'm just using the engine. I mean, it saw knight takes d5. That's a tactic you have to watch out for. That's why I don't like the queen on c7. He could also, sometimes have knight b5. It doesn't work here, probably. So at the end of the day, you just got like a slightly worse exchange variation position, which looks very standard. And, it's like a draw, but we have a teammate in my Hungarian team championship team who played this kind of line. Like, he lost like 3 games painfully that cost my team from advancing last year to the Hungarian first division. Playing h6 in exchange variation lines, and I just think that when you do h6, you end up in this sort of situation where it's hard to do anything after that. That's why I don't like this. You can't play f5. G6 like invites sacrifices and stuff. So you're just sort of stuck in a passive position now with no active counterplay. And the guy actually could just castle kingside and have a slight edge, which is very low risk. And I think white is solidly better here with just a standard sort of minority attack plan. But he goes really aggressive with castles queenside. I mean, that's higher variance, and I don't know what I would do with black here. The basic premise is usually to play for c5, but I mean, your queen is pretty strange here. This is a natural try, though. You've obviously got a backwardness on the c file. I'm not sure if he should wait, rush with g4, maybe play king d1. I would think about a prophylactic move. And I don't know if you need to panic. I'm not sure there's anything wrong with knight f6 here. I mean, white has g5, I know. Takes, but I'm not sure this is that devastating, is what I'm trying to say. How devastating it is not clear. So now you're stuck. You can't achieve c5. I'm not sure you ever would have anyway, but we have some problems. This is a huge problem. I mean, basically white is like positionally better on both sides. Yeah, it's extremely unpleasant position for black. I would like grab my opponent's hand and thank him profusely if he offered a draw in this position. Knight f8. White played very well. So sticking the bishop on h5 and praying for dear life. I'm not sure why you chose the E rook versus the A rook. Maybe you had to, I don't know. It's difficult to say. White's advantage persists. Very strong knights. I mean, your opponent played very credibly. Obviously, g6 could cost you. Nice acerbate defense there. We'd love to trade queens, but you're still going to be worse. hurts. Man. Painful. You know, I don't know how strong your opponent was, but he's quite strong. He played this game quite well. I'm impressed. 17 cent upon loss. 2 inaccuracies, 1 mistake. No shame to losing to a player who plays that well. But I think the most important thing, you know, the opening, really, he made the inaccuracy, not you. And I think that, you know, this is unfortunately one of those situations where you're a little bit caught by not knowing that much opening theory. What did you do wrong, per se? Look, I've been joking about this on my stream, but Queen A5 check, it's like a kind of unprincipled move, you know? The engine says it's okay, but you're put in this awkward position here, you know, where I literally don't know what to do after Bishop D2. I had a very similar game where I was playing this Hungarian IM in a Caro-Kann Panov, and basically the same kind of thing came up. And I didn't know how to continue with the queen. You know, do I put it back on D8? I mean, I think the thing you should do, though, is probably just play, like, very safe, like Bishop E7, and transpose back into, like, theory here. Rather than trying to punish him in unknown territory, this would be the safest procedure. You know, something like Bishop E7. Just play very solid, and let him get away with his bad move order. Because you don't know the theory well enough to, like, punish his slight inaccuracy. Yeah, I mean, I think Queen A5, it might be a good move, but I think that if you don't know what you're, you know what you're playing, like, you know, deeply, don't know the theory deeply, you want to kind of stick to principles and play, you know, very, very principled, very solid, wait for the opponent to make mistakes. With Queen A5, you went out on a tangent, and it objectively is probably a perfectly good move. But if we see what happens here, like Bishop D2, this starts to get weird. And frankly, he could have won a pawn with knight takes D5 at one point. You know, so I think you got into an awkward situation because you basically didn't stick to a very solid kind of setup. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for joining me. We're going to be back tomorrow. It was great doing this. I appreciate the donations and support. I hope you guys still love me. If I am passive, you know, some of us like me passive aggressive. Anyway, guys, you're welcome for the analysis. Thank you for the compliments and the insults. Welcome everything. I love you guys. Macro Panda and myself will be back later. Anita's here as well. Good night, guys. You're welcome. So again, Friday, 12:30 tomorrow. European facing stream. We still like you. I know you guys like me a little bit. Hopefully even more. I know Bob likes me more than a little. I hate to disappoint him. But we're just going to have to be that way. Guys, don't forget Thursday is today. So Sunday is the simul. Getting a little confused. Friday. Blitz tomorrow, 5+3 Fast Friday. Sunday, simul, 5:30 p.m. Tomorrow again, 12:30. Don't forget my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Don't forget to donate, support the stream. Fuchsia's so nice now, thank you. I feel better. I'm sorry, I'll try to be more aggressive in the future. Thanks, everybody. I love you guys, too. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Jim, thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for the donation, Jim.